Perfect. Okay, so good morning, everyone. Welcome to this meeting of the Arts Advisory Committee. I can confirm we do indeed have quorum. Currently absent is Councillor Neal and Clifford, Mark Garnis, and Gillian Glatt, and Dean Burry has sent his regards as previously stated. Joining us from staff currently is Derek O'Shea, who is our meeting host, Danica Lockheed, the Manager of Arts and Culture Development, and myself, Ian Sullivan, the Committee Clerk. There are currently no members in the public viewing gallery. We also do have Violet Tang joining us from the Arts Kingston Council. So with all that out of the way, happy to turn it over to you, Madam Chair, to begin the meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll call the meeting to order and ask for approval of the agenda. So I'll need a mover and seconder. Tim Fort, seconded by Brianne. All those in favor? No changes needed. Good. And next is confirmation of the minutes of September 22nd. I'll need a mover and seconder for that. Moved by Tim, seconded by Ara. And are there any questions, errors, omissions? Seeing none, I'll ask for approval of the minutes. All those in favor? And that's carried. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Seeing none. We will have no delegations, but we do have a briefing from Felix, the Executive Director, Kingston Arts Council, about the administration of arts funding for 2023. You'd like to introduce that, Felix, and I guess we'll probably hear from Violet as well. Okay, thanks. Yes. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here this morning and see everyone's faces, and also add my congratulations on the great ceremony last night for the Mayor's Arts Awards. We're very excited to be making our plans for the 2023 City of Kingston Arts Fund. And so today what's going to happen is Violet is going to present for your consideration and review the plan for administration, which is the founding document of that program. So she's going to give you an idea of the changes that we've made this year and some feedback that we received through our review process. So I will hand it over to Violet to make that presentation.
Thank you very much, Felix, and good morning, everyone. I'm also really happy to join everyone this morning. And I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to present the 2023 Plan for Administration of Arts Funding for the Cooperation of City of Kingston. My name is Violet Tan, and I am the Grants and Programs Coordinator for the Kingston Arts Council. The KAC is completing its annual review of the City of Kingston Arts Fund, the CCAF. The plan for admin is the foundation for the CCAF program. As per the KAC's service level agreement with the city, every year the KAC meets with CCAF jurors, representatives from local arts organizations and collectives, community members, artists, and the City of Kingston staff to review the plan of admin and discuss potential revisions. Based on this review and their own insights, the KAC staff will develop a draft plan for admin for the coming year's CCAF program, which is presented to and approved by the KAC Board of Directors, the Arts Advisory Committee, the Arts, Recreation, and Community Policies Committee, and the Kingston City Council. So today I'm presenting this draft 2023 Plan for Admin to you, the AAC, for your consideration and approval. First, I would like to provide some context for this year's review and the proposed changes to the document. The City and Kingston Arts Council continue to recognize the impact of COVID-19 pandemic on artists and art organizations. In 2021, the KAC administered $200,000 in one-time pandemic relief funding through two new grants, the Resiliency Grants and the Adapt Grants, which were developed from a framework separately approved by the city. In 2022, the KAC implemented significant changes to the plan of admin, specifically include letting individual professional artists as eligible project grant applicants. This year, the KAC completed a consultation process to identify the opportunities and challenges facing CCAF in 2023. The KAC sought feedback from KAC Board of Directors, the Grants Committee at its meeting on the 15th of September, and the Arts Advisory Committee at their meeting on the 22nd of September. The KAC additionally compiled feedback from CCAF applicants and recipients throughout 2022 and consulted staff of the City of Kingston Arts and Cultural Services. As a result of the work done to date, the KAC has developed the draft 2023 Plan for Admin, which was shared with you with all changes highlighted. So if you have this plan with you at hand, you could open it on your laptop and use them as a reference. So this draft was approved by the KAC Board of Directors at its meeting on the 20th of October, 2022, with no further revisions. In anticipation of the upcoming CCAF review, led by a consultant chosen by the City of Kingston, and in consideration of changes to the objectives, adjudication criteria, eligibility in 2021 and 2022 grant cycles, the KAC has not proposed significant changes to the plan for admin in 2023. I want to highlight the following changes for 2023, which reflect current procedures and make necessary updates to language to clarify policies that are already in place. The first one is the introduction and overview of the City of Kingston Arts Fund. So this text is on page 4. The introduction and overview of the City of Kingston Arts Fund text has been revised to reflect changes to the program and the end of this one-time additional funding from 2021. The second is the eligibility text, which is term C1C on page 6. The eligibility text has been updated to the existing deadline. This means new applicants seeking operating application in 2023 still need to book a consultation with the Kingston Arts Council before they apply. Next is the reporting requirements number 4. This text is in term C2K on page 13. The reporting requirements for text has been revised to reflect current policies and procedures for modifications to project grants. Modification requests must be made before the original final report deadline, or the grant may be considered null and void, and the amount may not be issued. And finally, it's the definition of funding. This is term H6 on page 26. The definition of funding has been revised to reflect current policies and procedures for lead applicants in the creation of grant agreements. And these 4 points are the most important revisions for the draft plan for admin. But in addition to these revisions, the KAC will be making changes to the applicant and juror experience through documents not reflected in the plan. I also want to provide some additional context to the committee on our plans for 2023 to support jurors and applicants. So the first is application forms will be revised to align more closely with adjudication criteria and with input from jurors and applicants to improve accessibility and better address current community needs. The second is the KAC will expand the search for jurors in 2023 to widen the juror pool and create new training resources to support jurors in the adjudication process. And finally, the KAC will develop new applicant support materials. This will include improvements to the information session held before the deadline, and asynchronous resources available through the website to help new applicants navigate the whole application process. This concludes my presentation. I am now able to answer any questions or hear feedback on the draft plan for admin at this time. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak with you this morning, and please let me know if you have any questions. Hi, Tim.
Tim, go ahead.
Yes.
I'm going to unmute. There I go. I'm unmuted. It's a great report. I'm curious about the percentage, the 30-70 percentage between operating and project grants. And I'm sure you have a history of that. It's obviously not in this document. Does that seem to be working out to be about the right relationship between those percentages? I'm sure that you have a record of how many applications come in and so forth. And given COVID, given all the other things, has that percentage needed to change, or has it felt like it needed to change over the last year or two?
Of course. Thank you very much, Tim, for the question. I will invite Felix to answer the question about the percentage in between project and operating.
Okay, Felix.
Yeah, I can comment on that. So I think in terms of the percentage splits, I can say that the demand exceeds what's available in both streams every year. So there is more demand for funding than we can provide with the program with the amount we're given every year since the program was created. So in terms of that, we haven't seen a significant shift either way in terms of demand during the pandemic. There was a slight drop in number of applications in 2020, but I think we all know that that was the timing of the deadline being in April 2020 caused us to have fewer project applications. But since then, we've had consistent numbers that are very close to or exactly the same proportionally to what happened before 2020. So we've kept that split the same, not seeing major changes to that. This is also something that we didn't really spend a lot of time considering this year because, as Violet mentioned, we are looking forward to that review of the program, which would be talking about things like how the money is divided between the streams, the stream divisions themselves. And so we weren't considering essentially a structural change like that in 2023, knowing that it's likely that we will be doing that review of those structures in the future, within the year, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. And just to clarify, is that really, really strict, or is there like some year it could be 72% and one year it could be 68%, or are you really mandated the budget just cuts there strictly?
It is specified in the plan that it's 70-30, so we do keep it 70-30. Sometimes, it can shift by 1% based on things like we do have to include accumulated interest, we have to include grants that were unused or returned amounts, which can shift the amount available per year, and sometimes that is divided differently based on the circumstances, but that 70-30 split is written into the plan, so we do are prescribed to follow it. Yes.
Okay.
Not sure if Thank you. Danica would like to make any comment on this from the city perspective. She's shaking her head no.
Hey, thanks. Alicia?
So I have two questions, if that's okay. And
Of course.
I know that the changes were fairly minor to the plan, and most of them were updating the dates to reflect the 2023 cycle. But and I just want to say too that you should be commended for continuing to do this on an annual basis, which I'm sure is also grueling because Kingston is really at the forefront and of other regional funding for the arts, and your incorporation of KDAC and all that is really fantastic. So I feel lucky to be in this community for that reason and that support. One thing I noticed in the plan this time that I hadn't really remarked before, and I'm sure there's an explanation for it, and maybe it came out because of this carefulness in highlighting the updating to the dates, is that the deadline for submission of applications and the sort of rough deadline for notification of awarded funding is not in the plan. And I know that that date shifts, but given how definite the deadline is for interim and final reports, I wondered if the plan, because it is public facing, should also have something like, and on an annual basis, applications are submitted in mid-April, and notifications are usually early July or something like that. Maybe for this round, it's probably too late because of all the approvals it's gone through, or maybe there's a reason why we don't have it in the plan, but I was just noticing that now.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much, Alicia, for the comments and suggestions. Yes, I think it is very valid to have those details of dates to give applicants and jurors some directions. But I would like Felix to comment on about this change for potential this year or in the future.
Felix?
Yeah, I think the major reason why it's not set in the plan is exactly as you said, Alicia, that it does tend to shift. If not by, usually it's the same week every year. It's usually the third week in April, but the actual date has shifted before. And part of that is that this has to go through subsequent approvals after this committee. And so it is pending the approval of City Council before we can move forward with the program launch. And sometimes in other years, like in election years, the dates of those council meetings can change. Or can't be anticipated when we are drafting the plan in August. So I think that that's the reason it hasn't been included in the past. But I don't really see a reason why we couldn't anticipate that, at least in terms of definitely the month that it's going to happen, or as you've said, the statement regarding notification, that notification follows so many days after the application deadline is fairly consistent. So we could include that language in that timing section of the plan. At this stage, I think it would be possible for us to do that this year. It's not really going to make any material change to the experience of the applicant or the administration of the fund, right? It's just a language change that would reflect what's in place. So it definitely would be possible for us to incorporate that. Yes.
Great, thank you.
Second.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you for that clarification. It's nice to hear from Violet that there is going to be an expansion of the juror pool and new training processes developed. I wondered, is there already in place a honoraria or duty pay for jurors, or is it volunteer? There is, right? Okay.
Yes, I think there is honorarium pay. And when we did the grants committee meeting, there were some feedback about developing some training materials to guide the jurors and applicants better. Is there any other questions about the plan for admin?
I don't see any other questions. I'll just clarify with staff then that it doesn't actually state a motion, but I'm presuming because it's under business, we would like a motion to approve the business, the administration of the arts funding. Is that right, Danica? Okay. Oh, hi, Ian, thanks. Okay, so if we could have a motion to accept the Kingston Arts Council Plan for Administration of Arts Funding for the Corporation of the City of Kingston 2023. Would anyone like to move that? Moved by Tim, seconded by Alicia. All those in favor? And that has passed. Good, thank you. And that really helps with the dates because that is a point that it's got to go through quite a bit more. And next is our congratulations. I'm sure you're a bit relieved because you can now continue on. Thanks a lot. Art in Public Places Working Group Update was the next item. It's under business. I guess we'll receive the report under business. Now, does anyone have any comments? It was quite a comprehensive report again. Danica, would you like to comment on it? Thanks.
Thanks, Liz. So yes, there's a couple of sets of minutes that have been made available to the Arts Advisory Committee today. The first is the Art in Public Places Working Group. So again, this is the working group that supports the city's public art program. It is very extensive. We hadn't had a meeting with the working group for a few months over the course of the summer, primarily due to sort of limited availabilities, but just, we were actually just getting through a lot of work on the public art file. So really what these minutes sort of outline are what projects that we've been working on through public art over this last year. That includes a new mural that we installed as part of a private development partnership at 168 Division Street. We also installed a new installation as part of our Paved Paradise platform, which is located in the downtown core and features local artists. We're also moving ahead on developing a more accessible and easy to use process for murals to be created on private property. So again, our public art policy as it currently stands really focuses on city property, how to install public art on city property, but there's been such a growing interest in installing murals on private property. And the process right now is a bit laborious and a bit sort of confusing. So we're trying to streamline that as well. And we're working on some professional development for artists in Kingston and really engaging our working group and helping to scope out what the needs are of the community to really then either work in partnership with organizations or deliver that professional development ourselves. So yes, it's just all there for everyone to review. I don't know if there are any questions from the minutes that anyone would like to ask about public art.
The consultation that'll be coming on in some interesting ways with the City of Kingston Arts Fund, there are probably mural artists. I bet there will wind up being some bits of connection, but there's not going to be a focus on public art. It's to do with the Kingston Arts Fund that the consultation will happen.
That's right. That's right. The fund review is again specifically about the fund itself and how it needs to expand to serve the community. It's a really good point, though. There may be, we anticipate there being growing interest in funding for individual artists and how that gets woven in to the City of Kingston Arts Fund, if at all. But I will just say on the public art side, we are also due for a public art master plan renewal. So this is sort of coming in 2023, 2024. It's not noted in the minutes, but our public art master plan was established back in 2015, and it's taken time to get the program launched and off the ground and deliver new public artworks and projects in Kingston. And so we're finally there and ready to sort of review the vision for public art in Kingston, and that will be happening in the next couple of years.
Terrific. Thank you. So could I have a motion to accept the Art in Public Places Working Group update? Moved by Tim, seconded by Brianne. All those in favor? And that's accepted. And then the Poet Laureate Working Group. Would you like to introduce that one, Danica?
Yes, thank you very much. I'll invite Era as the chair of this working group if she'd like to say any words about the process, but a big thanks to Era and the members of this working group who again had some summer homework to figure out and then appoint the city's next poet laureate for 2023 to 2026. They've completed their process, and we will be announcing the new poet laureate first through council on their meeting on December 6th, and then we'll sort of more publicly issue a news release and share who the new poet laureate is on December the 7th. So again, just a big thanks to the working group. And Era, I don't know if you have any additional comments you'd like to share as chair.
Yeah, it was a lovely process. And I was delighted by how quickly we came to consensus on who we wanted to select for the poet laureate. And that the person that we chose has agreed to do so. And I think it's someone that folks will be familiar with when the announcement is made. But yeah, it was a pleasure to do the process. We had members from the school boards, the public library, the outgoing poet laureate. And then the publisher and CEO of Brick Books, which is a poetry press who happens to live in Kingston. So we had a nice selection of readership and people who were familiar with the candidates through their work, having seen them as mentors in school programs and just participants in the community. So yeah, just a very nice process, and I was happy to be part of it.
Very good. Thank you. Terrific. So if there are no comments or questions, could we have a motion to accept the Poet Laureate Working Group update? Moved by Tim, seconded by Alicia. Thank you. And all those in favor? And that report has been accepted. Thank you. Well, this is the last one. There are no motions, notices of motions, other business. I won't be back. Another board member of Domino has applied, who is involved in a number of arts organizations as well. So I'm hoping she'll be here for the technical. And I hope lots of other members reapply, because it's good to have new people and seasoned members of any committee. But thank you all. Does anyone have any other final comments?
Could I have it noted that you did a great job, Liz?
Yes.
Thank you very much. You kept things running on really well. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you very much. It's dear to my heart. And I'll always be involved. Okay, with that, motion to adjourn. Moved by Tim, second by Alicia. All those in favor? Thank you very much, everybody, and we'll see you around town.
All the best, everybody. Take care.
Thank
Have a
you.
great rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.